Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night.
Good night, Malaysian 370.
Breaking news tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight with 239 people on board, including 4 Americans, has gone missing.
From the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Yo, yo. Oh, crap. I got my chair. Yo, yo. Welcome, everybody, to the live stream. Sorry, I had last-minute adjustment, realized my lighting was not correct, but we are in good shape. Everybody, welcome to the live stream. So many of you are in here. I can't show all your messages, but thank you guys so much for being here. We've had an incredible week. There's been a lot of revelations. I've had some great appearances. I've gotten more and more comfortable talking with people about topics and pretending to be a, mainstream type journalist person. Chat. We're moving mainstream. People have been sharing the MH370 videos. I shared them on the UFO hearing day and got nearly 8 million views on one of them. In just one day, guys, I want to show you guys what the analytics were like that day. It's pretty sweet. Let me take a look at how we've been doing this week. I don't always go look at the analytics and stuff like this because for me, it's just a matter of like I want the MH370 videos to get in the zeitgeist and they can never go away. I don't care if people think they're fake. I don't care if people think they're real. Whatever, doesn't matter to me. I just want to make sure they can never go away because I already know they're real. And I want to make sure that that is always out there, right? So here's a quick thing I want to say, guys. This is for the skeptics and the debunkers. Okay? For skeptics and debunkers. First of all, when the science ends up being real, I don't want to hear any bullshit about, oh, yeah, we can teleport things, but we definitely didn't teleport that Malaysian airliner that's still missing 25 years later or whenever we decide the teleportation is actually real. I don't want to hear any of that bullshit. I've already been seeing people trying to drop the seeds of, yeah, well, maybe some exotic science has been suppressed from us, and maybe Ashton's exactly right about it, but it definitely doesn't mean that we teleported the airplane. I can already see that happening. Don't come at me with that bullshit. Here's his next thing. You know what? I don't mind that people want to come at me. They want to hate. They want to call me crazy, all this other bullshit. That's fine. You want to do all that? You want to say that I'm a grifter sharing fake videos or whatever while I'm literally just out here telling you these are leaked military videos and they can be authenticated by the government? Go ahead. You can talk as much shit as you want. Here's the counter. When it turns out the videos are real, I get all the credit and I get to drag everybody who said they were fake through the mud. Does that seem like a good deal? Seems like a good deal to me. So if we have an accord, then let's run with it, right? That's I just want to make sure that we're cool with that because I feel like people are going to, if the videos end up being real, well, Ashton didn't really do anything related to them or whatever. You can see these narratives that people are trying to form or what have you. So there we go. The reason why, good deal. Chat's saying it's a good deal, so we're going to say it's a good deal, guys. And of course, when I get credit, I am going to give additional credit to all the people that have been following, especially MH370X, and especially the key contributors and moderators and stuff that have been helping me this whole way. Absolutely. You guys deserve the credit as well. So any of this that comes from me goes back to you guys right now as well. Okay, so those impressions, how much was that? That one day, almost 13 million. That might be the highest I've ever gotten, actually, chat. 13 million in one day. I guess you guys can't really see. 13 million impressions. That's wild. That's the most I've ever gotten in one day, I think. Normally, it's like 1 million or less, right? Crazy. As you can see here, I don't really care about impressions. For an account my size, it would be extremely easy to hire somebody to just run my account, and they could probably get millions of impressions every single day. When you see me on the weekends posting a lot, it's because I don't have a job. I don't have other stuff I have to do. So, you know, I'm just a normal dude running my own stuff. If you guys talk to a lot of the podcasters, very few of them run their own social media. Very few. Okay. Next thing, we're going to go quick. We got a lot of stuff to go through tonight. Guys, it's going to be a great stream. The most recent thing, I haven't thought about Mick West in so long. It was a surprise when somebody shared this in our Discord a few hours ago. I shared this video. We'll look at it here in a second. That is, I mean, maybe it's flares. It's like no flares I've ever seen of objects being hit by a projectile. Ashton Forbes has blocked me, but I see he was excited by this video. Perhaps someone he hasn't blocked could share my post with him. Well, this is weird because Mick West blocked me first. Mick West blocked me months ago. First of all, he had me blocked before I became E-famous or whatever is going on right now. And then he unblocked me, and then he reblocked me after I showed that his debunk attempts were fake, including his weird contrail stabilization thing, which was because of the stabilization software. And people came and proved it to him and showed him this and said, look, it's because of your stabilization. Once you change the colors of it, there's no jittery contrail issue. And he saw this and he wigged out. Instead of addressing that he lied, he blocked me. and now he's trying to pretend like he's taking the high road, like that I blocked him or something first. I reactionarily blocked him. I have nothing to fear from Mick West. Anyway, flares fall to the ground. I looked up these parachute flares, which he's saying is what it is. He says, look, this video shows two distant parachute flares. Okay, well, I looked up parachute flares, chat, and they have little parachutes on them, and they fall to the ground. So I'm just, to me, it's a little ridiculous to claim that. But here's the real kicker, chat. This is why I can't stand this guy, Mick West. I just think he's a terrible person who is so egotistical, narcissistic, savior complex bullshit to write something like this in an article. This guy contributes to Skeptical Inquirer. This snip right here is from Mick West's Skeptical Inquirer article about the MH370 teleportation hoax. Let's read it. It's called, this segment is called Why Bother? ? So why bother? I didn't at first, but if we let things fester, they sometimes grow. This hoax wasn't worth addressing back in 2014 when it just had a few thousand views and most people thought it was a hoax. But when it started to get millions of views, things changed. If it's not addressed, then many thousands of people who might be prone to things such as QAnon or believing the election was stolen will get sucked into believing this. And if they believe that the government can carry out and then cover up an event of this magnitude, then there's very little else they won't believe. Getting sucked into this via a harmless, seemingly interest in UFOs could lead to getting sucked into far more dangerous rabbit holes. So I'm grateful for all the work people did in tracking down the original images, that's never been done, and analyzing the many issues with the videos. There are no issues with the videos. They're perfect, literally perfect videos in perfect synchronization with no discrepancies on either video. Nowhere. I wish I had done a little more myself. This guy is the guy that we have on record, by the way, saying he won't address the videos like 4 or 5 different times for the first 3 months of this investigation. True story. I have the evidence. I can dig it up if we need. People sent me all the direct messages of them, Mick West saying, nope, these videos are too fake for me to even look at. I wish I had done a little more myself. He's going to say that after we've got literally messages of him saying he wouldn't look at it because it's too far below his standards. But in the fight against disinformation, every little bit helps. Absolutely. Definitely a brown shirt. This guy is a 100% piece of shit. No other way to put it. You write something like this, you are a grade A narcissist piece of shit. Like, I can't imagine being this egotistical ever in my whole life. Ever in my whole life. To write something this condescending is actually just fucking insane. The best way to react to people like this is this. P.S. Trump won. Fuck you. That is the best reaction you can possibly give to someone who's this institutionally brainwashed and just completely devoid of all common sense and reason. So let's take a look at the video. What is even the video in question? This is all I posted. It's crazy how many people come down on me for anything I post nowadays. Look, I see something neat, I'm going to post it. That's what you do when you're on social media. You post neat things. People talk about them. People can give their opinions in the comments. That's what we do. Interesting video of objects being hit by a projectile. The objects almost immediately reform their spherical shape. The material that comes off seems to dissipate into the sky quickly. So not solid matter. So let's look at the video. This is the key part right in the beginning. I'm going to make it full screen. So you can see there's two objects here. They're suspended in the air. They don't seem to be falling or moving in any way relative to each other's position. And then there's a projectile on the top right of the screen. Thank you very much. Too close, brother. Appreciate you. I do have something to say on the alien front as well. We'll talk about that next. Okay, projectile goes through both of the objects. You can see it clearly hit both objects. I think there are some kind of missiles that can do this. So you can see the projectile hit the first object cleanly right here. Hits the object. Then it hits the second object. It almost looks like ink splattering around, right? And then something seems to happen to the object on the left side of the screen. It's really hard to tell what's going on. Oh, no, the object keeps flying. Object keeps flying. So clearly an object hitting two other objects. I think we can agree on that. When you watch the dispersion, look at how whatever is flying off of here, this is just different temperature change. It basically flows into the background. You don't see it like fall to the ground, you know? Yeah, I have no idea what I'm looking at here, chat. The only reason why I thought this was interesting, so the orbs just seem to immediately reconverge. It's filmed in infrared. We can see optical and infrared. Unless these are two different things, but I don't know, truthfully. All I really care about is this one getting hit by the things here. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, the reason why I brought it up is because it looks like plasma. It looks like, when I first, truth is, I saw this video like a year ago, maybe even longer. And I just thought, okay, it's weird. I don't know. But now I know a little bit about plasma, and I go, I wonder if plasma could do this. If you were to hit the plasma orb, but not the object on the inside, you might see something like this. Maybe. I don't know. Because the part is they reform themselves. So if they're pulling electrons out of the atmosphere, the question is how quickly can they reform? Because they're constantly pulling electrons from the atmosphere. I don't know. I just think it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know why this seems to come off. Who knows? Again, I don't know, guys. I just thought it was a cool video. Okay. So I was going to show parachute flares. You guys can Google parachute flares. There's video of parachute flares at nighttime. Pretty easy to see the parachute. You can see the flares falling to the ground. Doesn't look anything like what we're looking at right here in this video. I don't know. Okay, who cares? End of the day. Okay, the alien thing. So I made a reply on Alex Jones's tweet where he has some big thing about the U.S. psyoping us, Project Bluebeam. I got to be honest, guys, I'm warming up to Project Bluebeam. I thought it was a crazy thing, you know, but I've kept an open mind, and I'm warming up to the idea. I am not going to believe that aliens are visiting us until I see an alien in 4K. Here are my arguments. And again, this does not mean that I don't believe aliens are real. I actually do believe aliens are real. They're out there somewhere, for sure. 100% aliens are somewhere in the universe. I don't know where. I'd also say it's very likely there's also aliens in our galaxy somewhere, okay? The galaxy is a big place, just itself. But I'm not going to believe the aliens are visiting us until I see them in 4K, because we have lots of UFO videos that are out there, like a lot. And there's very, very few videos of actual aliens. Very few. There's only a couple that I would even put in a category where I would even consider to be possibly be real. And one of them is the DNI alien video that Jon Stewart has been pushing. I'm not convinced on it, but it's the best one we've got, basically. Here's the DNI alien. If you're curious, this is the best alien video that's out there. It's not perfect. It's not great. Could be fake, but it's the best we got, okay? I also think it's a little bit cliche that it's like typical gray alien, because my view is that the aliens are going to be more unlike humanoids, but I don't know. Maybe they're going to be exactly like us. I don't know. So, yeah, this one just creeps me out. It gives me a very creepy feel when I watch it. This weird green light creeps me out too, that keeps bouncing up and down here. Like it doesn't really feel like somebody made this. It's just weird, you know? Very weird. It's just too cliche that it's a gray alien though, with black eyes, giant black eyes, you know? It's just, I don't know. I'm more inclined to believe if like a white Nordic came out and like Elon Musk was like, I was actually really an alien the whole time. I told you guys I was an alien. You didn't believe me. There you go. I knew you were hoping those tall whites. Mandatory DEI training for you, Veritas 4 Orbs. Mandatory DEI training. Guys, we are not going to make it very far if we do not respect all the different species of aliens, which means some of you are going to have sex with the mantid aliens. We might have to draw straws. We might have to do like a draft. But some of you are going to have to bite the bullet. You're going to pull the short straw or whatever, and you got to satisfy those aliens that are not as physically appealing as like the Nordics are. Okay? I'm sorry. It is what it is. That's just what it takes when we live in a DEI. You know, we're all respecting one another. We're respecting our pronouns. We're respecting our origins of which planets we came from and everything, guys. We got a volunteer in the chat. Chat, we have a volunteer. Don't worry. Some of you are saved. Ash here is going to bite the bullet for a lot of you. There you go. Okay, next thing, guys, because we do have a lot to get through. Where is it? Oh, okay. So shout out right now, my boy ZPE Disclosure. Once again, ZPE Disclosure has been crushing all of you guys right now. I mean, could not be more impressed by this guy's work. Big shout out to ZPE Disclosure. Not only is he's made like 12 memes. I think he's made 12 memes. He's also doing work that I couldn't believe people were actually doing. So let's take a look at ZPE Disclosure got a question in to Lou Elizondo. ZPE Disclosure got a question to Lou Elizondo. Chat. Here we go. Oh, one more thing I want to say too is some people might say, Ashton, aren't you alienating people by saying that you don't think aliens are visiting us? Or aren't you alienating people because you said Trump won to Mick West and you're, you know, punching at the lefties and the Democrats or whatever? First of all, I'm independent. I'm a libertarian. Second of all, I don't give a shit. I really don't give a shit anymore either, because I realize there's these little cliques and that this whole issue is a political issue. In fact, I want to read that first. I forgot. I just had another tweet that I want to read you guys. I've decided, and I think it's pretty obvious and apparent, 0 point energy is quite literally a political issue. It is a political issue. This is probably not the, you know, this is probably my most important post today, guys. It was confirmed by Mike Gold in the November 13th hearings that energy source related to UFOs is a national security issue. Okay, whether or not you believe Mike Gold because he worked for NASA or you don't believe him because he worked for NASA, doesn't matter. We already knew zero-point energy was a national security issue. He just confirmed and corroborated it for us. The energy source is zero-point energy. Space isn't empty, and we are in an equilibrium of space. The choice is either disclose ZPE or suppress it. Has merits on both sides. The energy source represents infinite green energy for all of humanity, but it also means that we can develop doomsday weapons beyond anything we've ever seen. ZPE can end climate change crisis instantly. All prior forms of energy production become obsolete. We can become a type 2 civilization. I had to go look up the Kardashev scale. Technically, we become type 2 with zero-point energy. Travel amongst the stars and colonize the galaxy. Alternatively, if the wrong group gets access to zero-point energy technology, they could produce a bomb that destroys the entire planet or even a black hole. Again, guys, a lot of people bring up nuclear weapons here. This is not comparable to nuclear weapons. The devastation is a completely different class of destruction that we're talking about. But I understand where you're coming from when you do that. We as citizens have to decide if the benefits outweigh the risks. We should be debating this topic to raise our collective consciousness. Where do you stand on this issue? Here's the truth, guys. I should not be the one who decides. I should not be the one who decides. The government should not be the one who decides. And it should not be some unelected, covert administrative elite, some deep state that decides. It should be the people that decide whether or not we think we can handle zero-point energy. Simple as that. That's who should decides. So what I love here about my own post is that now we realize zero-point energy is a political issue. It is a political issue. And my stance as a libertarian is that we should give power back to the people. And zero-point energy, free energy, gives power back to the people. I understand the risks. There are risks with a lot of things that libertarians believe. In general, we believe in less government control and oversight. And with less government control and oversight, there become more risks. That's true. We accept those risks as inevitable. That's my personal view. This issue is absolutely a political one. My current belief is that the people that are gatekeeping UFO disclosure are mostly left-wing. The predominant ones that you see in the documentaries and what have you, they're mostly left-wing, and that their stance on this issue is that it should be kept secret for national defense, except for aliens. We can talk about aliens. That's what I think their stance is. Now, just because someone disagrees with me politically does not mean I can't talk to them, doesn't mean I can't be friends with them. It's just a different viewpoint. Important to point that out. So this is part of the reason why I'm not going to back off from political questions and stuff on social media, because the whole thing is a political issue. Zero-point energy is a political issue. Everything is a political issue. And I think the people that are trying to hide their political opinions, they just do a disservice. Just be genuine. Let's just be genuine about this. Instead of trying to hide it and worrying about what people are going to think about what you say. Let's just be genuine and let the marketplace of ideas work it all out. Okay. Next thing, zero-point energy disclosure. Asks a question to Lou Elizondo.
Because of the number of times that ZPE disclosure is just machine gunning this question on and on and on in the chat. So I've got to ask you, and then ZP, if you...
So ZPE disclosure, I looked in the chat, guys. So somebody sent me this. I looked in the chat. He was spamming. Ask about Hal Puthoff. Ask about zero-point energy. What a legend. What a legend. He snuck a question in.
Tenacious. Yeah, tenacious. So here you go. The tenacity.
Yeah, also, bro, what is this camera? What is this? Dude's got like 200p camera going on here. What is this? The dude just sold a book. Did a whole media tour. His camera looks like it's from the 90s. Bro, are you using a webcam? Like, is this a Logitech webcam from the 90s? Please, man, look at me. Look at the guy all the way over there on the left. Like, my goodness, dude. Just upgrade your camera. It doesn't have to be a beautiful Sony A6600 like I have, but just make it not terrible. Ugh. If you're going to do this many media appearances, this many podcasts, it's a great investment. Ugh. Yeah, he needs those ZPE internet speeds. Anyway, let's keep going.
See, it's paid off here. I've got to ask this one. It's not necessarily about the hearing on Wednesday, but here we go. Lou, ZPE Disclosure is asking, what do you know about 0 point energy and Hal Puthoff?
So how
Chat, holy shit, am I excited for this question. What do you know about 0 point energy and Hal Puthoff? When he starts looking down like this, I actually think it might be a tell. I think this might be a tell. I think he did this. Somebody has to go find the Glenn Beck interview. I'm pretty sure he did the same exact thing when he got asked about MH370. You guys noticed it too, right? Yeah, see, Nathaniel Hanks noticed it in the chat. He always looks down because it's like somebody's calling his bluff and he gets nervous, right? Because he knows exactly what they're alluding to. He knows ZPE Disclosure is alluding to 0 point energy is the secret to all the UFO stuff. That's why he's asking about Hal Puthoff. That's why he's asking about 0 point energy. Hal Puthoff has all the papers on 0 point energy. Lou's a smart guy.
Puthoff is a colleague of mine. He was a giant in the intelligence community, has been part of pretty much all the spooky stuff that CIA and our intelligence community has been involved with for decades. He is considered the grandfather or godfather of the CIA's psychic espionage program known as now as Stargate. Before that was Grill Flame and several iterations before that. And he was a principal member of both OSAP and our team at ATIP. And continues to provide great value. He's also a physicist, world-renowned physicist, an incredible human being. And so having him on your team is like having an 800-pound gorilla with you when you're in a boxing match.
Bro, he said Godfather. He literally said he was the Godfather. He said Hal Puthoff was a Godfather. I've never seen somebody get glazed that hard. If you guys don't know what glazing means, I also had to look it up to see what the kids are talking about. Apparently, glazing means basically like jerking someone off. You know, you're really talking them up. That was an amazing glazing he just did. In fact, I agree too. I would glaze the shit out of Hal Puthoff. Dude's a legend. I don't care if he's been hiding free energy from the world. This dude's a genius. Absolute genius. In fact, he probably has a good reason if he thinks it should be hidden. But anyway, so he just basically says Hal Puthoff's a legend. He's been working with ATIP and OSAP. So no question, Hal Puthoff is connected to the whole ATIP and OSAP program. You think Hal Puthoff doesn't know the MH370 videos are real? Shit, I'm wondering if Hal Puthoff made the orbs now. I'm literally wondering if Hal Puthoff made the orbs. And we're going to get more into it later because it's like, chat, we've reached a point where we're almost able to prove the history of all this science. That's what's getting wild. So let's hear him talk about 0 point energy.
You know, really, truly an American treasure. 0 point energy.
I thought he was gonna do the Hal Puthoff thing to avoid the question of 0 point energy, but he actually does address it. I don't think he really quite gets it right, but close enough. We're not judging that hard.
Is a theory. Now let me see if I can capture this correctly because I'm not the physicist that you are, Mark. But 0 point energy is the idea that there is a steady state of energy that exists in a complete vacuum of space. So a lot of people believe that energy.
Nathaniel Hanks, you got to tell us that joke in the chat, or just give us the context of this joke. I need to see.
In space, in the deepest, darkest parts of space, there really isn't anything. If you don't have mass moving around or anything like that, there really isn't any energy. And yet, scientists now have come to the conclusion that there indeed is potentially energy out there. Think of a field. Think of in some cases, the notion that little particles of matter and antimatter are constantly popping into existence in empty space, and they annihilate each other very quickly. And there's energy in that release. So 0 point energy, vacuum energy, is something that Hal is.
So that explanation doesn't feel quite right to me. When the particles and antiparticles are interacting and annihilating one another, the virtual particles, whatever the hell they call them, I don't think they're releasing energy. Someone fact check me on that. I'm pretty sure the point of 0 point energy is like when a pendulum is swinging and it stops. We think that it's at rest, but from the quantum perspective, it's still vibrating, always moving. The fact that there's always movement means that there's still energy there. The same concept as if you were to look at classic physics, would say that vacuum is empty down here. But then we have to ask, well, why is it that helium-3 doesn't freeze if that's really absolute zero? And then we realize, oh, absolute zero temperature is actually not the lowest state. We realize there's energy actually below here. And the question really is, how much of this energy is there? That's 0 point energy. It's all around us all the time because nothing's ever really at rest. We are in a bathtub filled with energy. We just don't realize it. Okay. Yeah, it's just the uncertainty principle at work, which would say that you can't tell the location of an atom, for example. Could be here, could be here. Well, there's some energy for that to be possible. Okay, so there we go. We corrected it a little bit, but fine. I'm not judging Lou Elizondo based on his physics. In fact, I'm impressed that he knows any physics at all.
Has been a leading physicist on. I want to make sure I don't mischaracterize 0 point energy because I'm sure there's a lot of physicists out there that are saying, well, Lou, you don't have that exactly right. And I'm sure I don't. But
fair enough. I mean, fair enough. I forgot that he says that right after this.
The idea is that there is energy even in areas of the universe where it shouldn't be, and in fact it's everywhere. And if you have a way to harness that, then you potentially have an unlimited supply of free energy, in theory. And Mark, please feel free to add to that because you're probably more qualified than me.
You know what? I really wouldn't be, and your knowledge of physics is something that is really quite incredible. We've had.
Okay, I'm probably going to skip this next part. They talk a little bit about black holes and what have you, whatever. But, yeah, that was pretty decent. Not bad. Not bad point of 0 point energy. And at the end there, what does he say right here? It would be a potential source of unlimited free energy. That's a little bit of a giveaway, chat. I'll tell you why in a second here. Ready?
0 point energy, vacuum energy is something that Hal has been a leading physicist on. I want to make sure I don't mischaracterize.
This is something that Hal has been the leading physicist on. 0 point energy. Hal Puthoff is the leading physicist. You just heard Lou Elizondo say those words out of his mouth. And then what does he say right after that?
0 point energy, because I'm sure there's a lot of physicists out there that are saying, well, Lou, you don't have that exactly right. And I'm sure I don't. But the idea is that there is energy even in areas of the universe where it shouldn't be, and in fact it's everywhere. And if you have a way to harness that, then you potentially have an unlimited supply of free energy, in theory.
Now this is huge. Why is what did he just say? They're so huge, chat. Lou Elizondo said if you can harness that 0 point energy, you have an unlimited supply of free energy. Conventional physics says that not only can you not harness it, but there's not enough energy out there to give. Why does Lou Elizondo? Lou Elizondo is promoting what many mainstream scientists would say are alt science. I mean, it's really just reality, but it's physics that mainstream has not accepted. So that, and he just connected Hal Puthoff to it and just glazed Hal Puthoff like I've never seen somebody get glazed before, saying he's the greatest scientist out there. Why does this guy have me blocked on Twitter? Isn't this pretty weird, chat?
And Mark, please feel free to.
Isn't it kind of weird that the guy who knows this much about 0 point energy, whose lead scientist is the guy that literally is the father of 0 point energy, Hal Puthoff, that he just glazed for several minutes straight? And yet all of these people and his whole crew all have me blocked. While I'm sitting here digging into the science, read all Hal Puthoff's papers, all the history of Hal Puthoff. In fact, we're about to go over it in the next part of this stream. That's why we're watching this right now. And I'm sitting here yelling. that 0 point energy is the secret of the national security issue related to UFOs. Where is the energy coming from, chat? Where is the energy coming from? For this UFO that's floating around, hovering over here, defying gravity, every second this thing sits up here requires energy. The same way the magnet sticks to the fridge. That requires energy to do that too. How is it doing that? 0 point energy is the answer. Why? There is no other answer. There is no other source of energy that is out there that anybody has theorized. Keep this in mind. There is no other source of energy possible. Like 0 point energy, when you dig through the science of like what energy sources might be out there, you're going to find out fusion and 0 point energy. And it turns out fusion is connected to 0 point energy because hot fusion is a scam. It's never going to work. Cold fusion is the only way. Crazy, huh? Okay. Should we watch? I think we should watch this Danny Jones clip. I think we should watch this, chat. Danny Jones, Sheehan. See if we can find it. Damn, this got a lot of views. 500,000 views. Danny Jones is almost up to 1 million subscribers, chat. I won't talk shit about Danny Jones here today on this stream. We'll save it for another time. I don't really like calling people out. It's not my favorite thing to do in general. And I generally have avoided all of his stuff. Never promoting him because of how he treated me. But you know what? You get a freebie for today, Danny. Here we go. Okay, we're going to see what Danny Sheehan supposedly says about Hal Puthoff. Today is a lot about Hal Puthoff, guys. Okay, so 324. Oh, this is the end, huh? Oh, weaponizing alien tech. Okay.
Thank you so much for coming all the way down here and doing this. We just did almost 4 hours. That was incredible. The amount, like I said before, the amount of knowledge and history that you have in your mind and is absolutely astonishing. And I'm really grateful for you coming down here, man.
No, I'm delighted to come. I want to talk to the people about these things.
Yes,
you know that I haven't been talking about these things for people for years. But I said, this is the issue. I'm just going to bring all of that to bear because the misdeeds of the national security state, which I've talked about in a number of different areas, all come to roost on this thing. That they believe that they actually are entitled to keep secret from the people the fact that there's an extraterrestrial civilization of people coming and going from our planet, and that our people are engaged.
Guys, it seems like maybe if you have some inside info, if you've seen the aliens, it's just without having seen aliens firsthand, to be out here and be like, the aliens are visiting us and they're coming and going as much as they want, just seems a little presumptuous to me. It just seems presumptuous. I mean, I'm open to the idea if you can show me like any actual evidence, and just showing me something floating around in the sky is not enough for me to believe it's actually aliens. Because again, at heart, I'm a skeptic. I need to see the manted alien walk out of the ship. Then you've got me. I see a manted alien walk out of a UFO, flying saucer, or whatever. Okay, if you capture it in 4K or whatever, you got me. Okay, aliens are obviously visiting us. Anyway, let's keep going.
Trying to back engineer their craft to develop weapon systems. I'll do one story in closing on this. Is that Hal Puthoff? I don't know if you know Hal.
Yeah, I'm familiar with
Hal Puthoff told us that he was meeting with Bill Clinton back during 1992 in the Clinton administration when the Lawrence Rockefeller and the people were talking about trying to consider putting this information out. Right.
Okay, real quick. I saw that message from the Sean. I wanted to address it. Thank you for my new followers. People ask, why haven't I ever heard about you? We'll go back to that clip in just a second. Well, that's part of the reason. You realize I've been on over 100 podcasts. Some of the biggest names that are out there, including Candace Owens, Alex Jones, many others as well. I was just on with the Hodge twins. I have just on my Twitter account, which has gone in the last year from 30 to 200,000 followers, probably around 300 million impressions. Just from my account alone. That doesn't even include all the people that have been sharing stuff. If you add them all up, we're talking over 1 billion impressions on the MH370 videos. And there's a lot of people out there have no idea that I've been doing this about the case or anything. And that's because that's how suppression works. Suppression is not as simple as we're going to hide this from you. They suppress it. They make sure that in the YouTube searches and in the Google searches, you don't see all the great podcasts that I do. They make sure that the content doesn't get shared unless it's getting shared organically. They make sure that the algorithm never lets you see about me unless it's a debunk video or Ashton's getting made fun of or some shit like that. And there's few and far between of those. Few and far between. This is the reason why you don't know about me. Even though I've been ridiculously popular on basically every show I go on, just talking about the stuff, talking about the science, etc. So I'm glad you're enjoying the journey. This is one of the rare circumstances, and I'm not saying everything's fake out there. This is one of the rare circumstances. Yep, and I can do this with both hands. That's how good I am. One of the rare circumstances where this is actually just real. This science is real. We've figured out this whole UFO thing. It's a tangled mess of narratives and grifty people coming out and trying to sell you books and documentaries and trips to here and there and having you pay them to hear them speak about how the aliens are gonna come save us and all this crap. It's gotten to the point where it's become a bit of a joke, and it was hard to wiggle through all of it to figure out where's the truth and where's the bullshit. End of the day, humans have figured out how to produce self-sustaining balls of plasma called EVOs. This is the major revelation, because this means that just because we're seeing stuff floating around out there does not mean it's automatically aliens. Could be, but not automatically. And a lot of these people you're hearing talk to you, trying to convince you that there's no way we can have human technology that can defy gravity. Why? Because mainstream media doesn't have it. It's not on CNN. So gravity-defying technology can't be possible. And you're like, but isn't the military like decades more advanced than the public? What does that look like? Well, I think we figured out what it looks like. These balls of plasma represent free energy because they naturally have an asymmetry. An asymmetry is just where one side is different than the other. That's really all thermodynamics boils down to. If this side is hotter than this side, then the hot air flows to the cold side. This is true of energy in general. If there's more energy over here and less energy over here, energy is going to flow from here to over here. And balls of plasma, these EVOs, for a reason that I could guess, but we don't really know for sure. For some reason, these EVOs have a natural asymmetry of charges to them, which is like being a permanent battery, like a permanent capacitor. That's free energy. That's energy that's just coming out, more energy than what it's using to sustain it. Huge. Now let's go back to this. So thank you guys for being out here. And okay, last thing I'll say is Ken Shoulders, who discovered EVOs, he discovered this natural asymmetry. He believed that the excess energy that was being produced must be coming from, guess it, the 0 point fluctuations, the vacuum. He said that must be coming from there. Pretty crazy. And yes, does it explain magnets? It does, in fact, explain magnets as well. Magnets, a permanent magnet, is just electrons spinning, and they're all perfectly lined up. Imagine just rows of soldiers lined up. It's Star Wars and the Imperial Death Cruiser or whatever is landing, and all the guys are lined up. That's how a magnet works. A permanent magnet is just an alignment of electron spins. And this causes a very powerful force. And how is the magnet sticking to your refrigerator? How is the magnet sticking to your refrigerator? Where's the energy coming from? What if I told you that the energy was constantly being refreshed all the time between the magnet and whatever it's connected to? Constantly being refreshed, and it's defying gravity. Because gravity itself is based on this sea of charges that we're sitting in all the time. It's just generally in an equilibrium. But if you make an asymmetry, boom, now you're seeing electricity, now you're seeing energy. Shout out Magic the Gathering chat. Shout out to Wizards of the Coast. They don't deserve it, but shout out to them either. I was actually thinking about Magic yesterday. For some reason, I'm starting to get an inkling of wanting to play Magic Arena again. Guys, I used to be really good at Magic. Like, if you guys know about Arena, I was like Mythic ranked in both constructed and in draft. Mythic rank is the one where like you get free invites to some tournament or something like that. Or maybe you used to, I don't know. Anyway, let's go ahead and watch the end of this clip. Sorry to go on a sidetrack, guys.
He's at a meeting, and the science advisor for Bill Clinton is there. And so Hal says to him, he says, what do you think is really the source of all the pushback that we're getting on trying to get this information out? And the science advisor says, let's go outside where I can talk to you, which tells you something about what they're worried about, the kind of surveillance and stuff that's going down against the political people. Wow. He said, so he goes outside and he said, here, let me give you an analysis, he said, of what I think the problem is here, of why they're pushing back so hard. He said, there's a story about this little old man who's on his way back from somewhere. He's coming home at night, early in the evening, and he's walking through this field, and he looks down and he sees this light, like in the grass, and he leans down, and it's a frog, and the frog has this little light, like on top of his head, and he reaches down and picks. This is Hal Puthoff telling me the story. He said, this is the answer this is what the science advisor told him is the answer for why they're pushing back like this. He said, and the little man reaches down, picks up the frog, and he recognizes that it's a crown. The little light is a crown on the head of the frog. And the frog looks up at him and says, I'm not a frog. I'm a princess. I'm a beautiful princess. And I've been turned into a frog by this evil sorcerer. And all you have to do is kiss me. You kiss me and I'll turn back into this beautiful princess. And you and I will be married and we'll have many great children. We'll be able to rule our place with peace and justice. And the little man looks at her and he says, at my age, I think I'll settle for having a talking frog.
Is that the whole joke? What a weird joke. At my age, I think I'll settle for having a talking frog. Wow, what? Is that the end?
That's good.
Okay, that's what we've got happening here. These people are willing to settle for a talking frog. Just like Woodward and Bernstein were willing to settle for just that they caught creep money going to the people that burglarized the Watergate, and let the whole other thing go. Right. They're missing out on this astonishing opportunity for our entire human family to enter into an entire new era, of safe energy and plenty for everybody and a positive relationship with an entire extraterrestrial civilization.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So Hal Puthoff basically told a story saying that it could be so much better, but we're just idiots and we're satisfied with, yep, aliens are real. Sure, aliens are real. That's what I'm hearing when I watch that. Maybe that's my bias. We're like, oh, yep, there's some magical thing here. All you have to do is figure out what the energy source is, and we can change all of civilization. Nope, I'm good. Just tell me when I get to fuck the aliens. When do I get my sexy alien butt? My sexy alien booty. No need to kiss the frog and have free energy. Interesting. I don't know another way to interpret that. I have no other way to interpret that, guys. Maybe there's another interpretation that I'm missing there. Huh. Whatever. Okay, interesting, guys. Next thing. Let's take a look. Got a few things here. I think we're gonna get into this document. Yeah, weird. Okay. See if we can make this good size for people to be able to read. Okay, what are we looking at here, chat? Truthfully, I'm actually not even sure anymore. I'm actually not even sure what I'm looking at anymore. This was what was uploaded to Congress on maybe Nancy Mace's website or something like that. Not really sure. And at the beginning is some 12-page letter, a bunch of bullshit. I don't give a crap. Schellenberger, his notes and his references, they're a little bit suspect. Although he does have the Atomic Energy Act listed here. Restricted data related to nuclear weapons to be handled with strict classification rules. What did he reference? I forget. I wanted to make fun of him for referencing something. Oh, he references John Greenwald of the Black Vault like 5 times. Why is he referencing John Greenwald all these times? John Greenwald is an idiot, guys. John Greenwald's an idiot. He's a useful idiot. Pretty damn sure that's got to be what's going on. I've come to that conclusion for the following reasons. Because I have sent in way more than 20 FOIAs, and they've basically all been rejected. So how and why is this guy getting responses on his FOIA requests related to UFOs? I mean, he's got to be getting told exactly what to search for by people. Which in this case, he's also apparently gone from being somebody who was like open-minded to it, who's gone and hardcore skeptic, I guess, which is just weird to me. I don't think these people are like disinformation agents. I know that people like to say that all the time. I think that in a lot of cases, people just get used very easily. In some cases, they're on team hide it. They're on team hide it. Okay. So anyway, after this whole letter, after all this stuff, all of a sudden, there's this very interesting, extremely long list of historical references and documents and links down here. Starts right here from 1947 until 2023. So how many years is that? 75 years, roughly. 75 years of references, over 150 pages. Over 150 pages. Thank you very much. The moose is loose. I appreciate you. Yeah. Does Matt pronounce his name Bell or Beal? I'm too afraid to ask now if I've been pronouncing it wrong. But the podcast, Limitless Podcast with Matt, incredible. Check it out if you haven't. There's actually a clip in it that I'm gonna snip later today as well. In fact, I have to think. Do I have it? No, I don't have it yet. Okay. Bell. It is Bell. Okay, Matt Bell. Yeah, check out Matt Bell. Check out that podcast, guys. Now, holy crap. Look at how much stuff is here. Look at how many pages of stuff. Like, you can't even actually just go through all of this. This goes back to, like, Roswell. Yeah, it actually starts at Roswell. And then it works its way down. So, I was going to dismiss this. I just thought, this is just some rantings. I don't know who even put this together. But whoever put this together, I actually want to know who put this together. It's way more interesting than I thought. Let me just show you this. Can you guys see the search at the top of the screen? Oh, you guys can't see the search? Hold on. Let me see. Oh, you can't see the search. Okay. I'm doing Control F up here, and I searched for Puthoff, and there are 93 references to Puthoff. Puthoff's not exactly a common word. It can basically only be referencing Hal Puthoff. 93 references. I had to download this, guys, so I don't have a direct link for you guys. You should be able to find it pretty easily just from Googling. Yeah, this document's actually better than the whole hearing combined. Better than the whole hearing combined. So what are we going to do right now? We are going to look up, to start, 4 names. We are going to look up Ken Shoulders, Hal Puthoff, Eric Davis, and Salvatore Pais. Those are the 4 names we're going to look up right now. If you guys have other things that you want to look for in here, let me know. If I see any really great ideas in the chat, we will also search for them. But there's a few things I already know we're going to find. Don't get too excited. Okay. Shoulders. Let's see if there's any references. 1 reference to Ken Shoulders. There's only 1. And it's one of the Puthoff ones that I wanted to do anyway. Summer of 1985, chat. Okay, let me set the stage for you. Yeah, Winterberg's actually a good idea as well. I'll search for Winterberg. 1985. So what is this 1985? Why does this matter? Because Hal Puthoff's first scientific paper about zero-point energy, which was the ground state of the hydrogen atom does not radiate energy when it's at rest. That is weird. It actually should be radiating energy. If it's not radiating energy, but we know it's moving, does that mean it's in an equilibrium? That was Hal Puthoff's first paper in what year? 1987. 1987 was when Hal Puthoff first wrote his first paper on zero-point energy. But in 1985, let's find out what happened. 2 years before his first paper, Hal Puthoff, former head of the Army and DIA remote viewing programs, gives 2 weeks' notice and leaves SRI International, which is the Stanford Research Institute, like the Stanford. That's where Puthoff got his PhD, I believe, to work for Bill Church and Jupiter Technologies to explore alternative fuel sources. Church, the CEO of Church's Fried Chicken, claims he had a dream of a saucer landing before funding Jupiter. Jupiter scientist Ken Shoulders claims exotic vacuum objects studied at Jupiter could be a source of alternative energy. Wow. Wow. Guys, holy shit. We can build a timeline. If you didn't watch my live streams the last few times, I don't know where it is in this sea of links I have open up in the background, but somewhere I have Ken Shoulders' like history of all his work. And Ken Shoulders said that Bill Church and Hal Puthoff had been working together before this, and they became a team. And then in 1980 is when Ken Shoulders realized that the ether is real and that opened the door to alternative energy. 1980. So 1980, Ken Shoulders realizes the ether is real by a scientific paper from Bergstrom from 1973. Then in 1985, he connects with Hal Puthoff and they quit SRI. And now they're joining Jupiter Technologies, which if you look up these guys' patents, it's weird. Like it's a toy company, but they're producing like military free energy source things. Ken Shoulders goes on to discover exotic vacuum objects. And Hal Puthoff goes on to start writing physics papers about zero-point energy and how we can harness the energy, how we can use it for space flight, everything. Everything. Wild chat. Okay, donation I just saw. Boy, you guys, chat, you are flying. James, the Be Not Afraid sign off for this Immaculate Constellation document. Is this implying that there is a religious component to the UAP story? I wouldn't read too much into it. A lot of people in the military are religious and they love religious connotations. So I would say if there is a religious component, it might be about what's the history of our species. But I don't know. I don't know. When it comes to the whole aliens thing, the origins of aliens, the origins of our species, I just have no idea. I'm wide open on it. I'm open-minded to anything that I can see evidence for. Apparently, eating at Church's chicken means you are funding zero-point energy research. Who knew? Who knew, chat? Oh, and somebody just watched, Bernard just watched the Redacted interview. Yeah, probably some of the top 3 might be Redacted, Candace Owens, and then Hodge Twins podcasts. When you watch any of those, it's hard to still be a skeptic because there's just so much evidence. When you say, I'll go full screen for a second. When you say the wrong thing online, you have a million people breathing down your throat. Hell, I threw a physics question out there yesterday. And it was not even that vague, but just because there was room for interpretation, a bunch of people started not jumping down my throat, but all jumping in. What do you mean? Oh, but what if this or that, whatever. So when I start talking about zero-point energy and explaining all the science and the physics and the history of the science, and you see nobody out there able to debunk it, nobody's trying to gain clout by chopping me down, that should tell you a lot. That should tell you a lot. People love to gain clout by chopping somebody else down. So either there's not enough people that know about 0 point energy out there that are not confident enough to try, or they just know that the concepts I'm saying are all legit and they're all real. Okay. I don't leave a lot of room for criticism when it comes to the 0 point energy and the quantum physics stuff. I generally don't talk confidently about science and physics unless I understand it intuitively myself. Generally, not always. Okay. I see you guys in the X chat. Chat's just flying fast, and X chat is really garbage, guys. So just a heads up. Yeah, and the Matt Bell interview is very, very good. So just for the record, if you're in the X chat, you may want to jump over to the YouTube chat. I've found X chat to be garbage myself, but I can see your guys' messages in the X chat. Also, quick shout out before we go back to this, because it's going to come up here in a second. Salvatore Pais' interview has been locked in for next Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Central. I plan to talk to Salvatore Pais for the first hour, maybe 45 minutes, and then have Dave Rossi join, and then we'll geek out. We'll talk about physics. We'll talk about science. I'm not going to have the YouTube link up until probably after Friday's stream, because with StreamYard, you can't have more than one thing up ahead of time. So after my Friday stream, I'll make the scheduled stream for Salvatore Pais. It is going to be live. It's going to be live. So you guys are probably going to enjoy it. I've been working on the questions. You guys know I don't bullshit around. You guys know that I'm going to ask questions that are going to be interesting, that are going to help us push the envelope towards this disclosure stuff. Okay. How can I get a video of what you're talking about? Best thing is to listen to the podcasts. So a bunch of them were just named. Redacted, interview with Clayton Morris. Watch the Hodge Twins podcast that dropped last week. Watch Matt Bell, which just dropped a couple days ago, or watch Candace Owens. Those are just a few, but I have 100 podcasts you're welcome that I've been on. You're welcome to watch any and all of them. I think I've posted basically every single one on my Twitter account. Welcome to watch all of them. You can watch my thought process. You can watch as the evolution of the story is advanced, as the evidence is rolled in as well. Okay. Did Stephen Hawking hide this? That's a good question. I do not know. I do know that Hawking radiation and black body radiation are significant for understanding the totality of this science. Yep, I hope I stay safe as well. I think that a lot of people realize that 0 point energy is clearly the answer here. It's kind of an unspoken secret, or open unspoken secret at this point, that 0 point energy is really what this is all about. Okay, so we only found one link with Ken's shoulders, but it is a juicy one. This is a juicy one, guys. We're not going to have time to go through 97 links for Hal Puthoff. We're not going to have time for that, probably. But it goes back to 1954. 1954, talking about MJ12. I don't even know what that means. Majestic 12? So Hal Puthoff's been in this game for a long time. Hal Puthoff might be the oldest person still in the game. Oh, okay. We might have to watch this. We have to read this one. 1968. Okay, this looks relevant, guys. Get ready. Okay. Yeah, I think Thomas Townsend Brown discovered this. Pay attention right now. We're going to talk about it. MS Khan and GM Andrew of Northrop, that's Northrop Grumman, NorAir, published a paper on electroaerodynamic supersonic flow, suggesting Northrop was researching methods to reduce the drag of an aircraft by creating an electrostatic field around the craft. Dan Marcus, a pseudonym for a source in the British aerospace industry, states in a 2002 paper that the Pentagon pulled the paper and made it disappear. Marcus suggested the B-2 Spirit utilized an electrostatic field around the aircraft to reduce drag, something that has still not been publicly admitted. Yeah, the B-2 bomber does have it, guys. So this is part of what we realize, too, is that these hypersonic craft are actually using the 0-point energy physics. They're using the 0-point energy physics in our spy planes to make them fly and use less fuel and to make them fly for longer, less sustainability out in the air. And they're literally suppressing the science because it's national security due to all these implications of what it can do. Crazy, right? Now, the note. Yep, well, I'm not missing the note. I see you there, Tommy guy. Marcus suggests early efforts at drag reduction through electrogravitics may have developed into a more robust anti-gravitic program later, almost assuredly done in the black. He argues the fact that the white world research on the issue stops in the 1960s suggests that it was advanced. Whoa! Yeah. What? This is exactly what I've been saying. I said in the 60s, we developed the SR-71, and we used this hypersonic plasma sheath to reduce drag and to allow our craft to achieve speeds that would otherwise rip it to shreds. And then we found out, and then I hypothesized that we figured out how to turn that plasma sheath into a plasma drone that could float freely around and defy gravity itself. And then a lot of what we're seeing are those plasma drones based on this electrogravitic technology and property. This seems to corroborate that we have figured this technology out potentially since the 60s, maybe even earlier. So when people say, oh, we reverse engineered it, but we never figured out how it works, this would seem to contradict that pretty heavily. Pretty heavily. And yes, for the record, many people have been saying this for a long time. Nothing that I've been pushing is original except for my work on MH370. And even part of that, the community has helped out with. Absolutely. That's why I am an influencer. I'm a 0-point energy influencer. I'm a high technology influencer. Because what I'm doing is I'm bringing attention to a topic that deserves more attention, that has not got the amount of eyeballs on it that deserve it. This is possibly the biggest issue in the history of the world. Hiding technology will change our entire planet. And we're seeing the history of it. I don't know if it just took somebody impartial coming into this thing to look at it with a clear set of eyes or what. I actually don't understand how other people haven't figured this out, because the stuff is out there. All this history, all this science is out there. This document is incredible. And for anybody out there that's a UFO researcher, please go to, I think it's Nancy Mace's website. You can find the link to this probably on the internet. Read through this. I plan to read through the whole thing. This is really great research. It really puts the pieces together, especially if you understand a lot of the other context of what's going on. Yes, thank you. Physicist Ashton Forbes, chat. Okay. This method is the same as Thomas Townsend Brown proposed in the 50s. What Franklin Meade in 1972 at Air Fort Edward Base pursued for decades. Guys, Franklin Meade, have you guys seen ball lightning study or teleportation physics study? Pay attention to this name, Franklin Meade. Watch closely. Sorry, I'm Googling something. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was correct. Okay, let's reshare. Let's see. What does this paper say? Teleportation physics study. August 2004. Eric W. Davis. This is Hal Puthoff's chief scientist. Let's see who funded this research for the Air Force Research Laboratory, chat. Let's take a look. Oh, this says Frank Meade on it. Franklin B. Meade Jr. Look, there he is. There's Frank Meade Jr. signing off on the teleportation physics study for the Air Force Research Lab. We can connect all these guys together. We can just connect them all together now, chat. Holy crap. Thomas Townsend Brown, Frank Meade, Hal Puthoff, and we know that Franklin Mead was, I don't know if you want to say funding, but clearly managing scientific papers by Eric Davis about teleportation. That is crazy. That is crazy. Clearly, we saw UFOs teleporting. Or we developed the teleportation. I don't know. But something happened where somebody had a really, really good idea that teleportation was possible. And they were all the same people that were researching electrogravitics and zero-point energy. What a coincidence, chat. What a coincidence. All the scientists that have been researching zero-point energy are all talking about wormholes and teleportation, and they're all connected to the UFO community and phenomenon and to these black projects that have been developing the technology based on stuff we used on spy planes in the 60s. Actually crazy, guys. I hope you guys are sitting down because it's going to get crazier, actually. It's actually going to get crazier. Okay, the last part it says is also what Mark McCandlish testified to when was used to develop United States government recreations of UAP craft. Wow. So to me, this is very credible. The last part is the only part I question. Were we really recreating UFOs? Or is that a cover? I don't know. I honestly do not know. I guess I would lean towards, yeah, we were probably reverse engineering something. But until I see the aliens firsthand, the list of aliens and options for non-human intelligence is huge. Absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. Okay. We're gonna probably have to come. You know what? We might come back to Hal Puthoff, chat. Oh no, I think we might see. There's actually something else I need to get to here. So we're gonna skip some of the Jacques Vallée stuff and all these guys talking. They talk about crash retrievals and some of that other stuff. Here's the Ken Shoulders thing that we saw. Skip this guy. John Lear's mentioned here as well. It's crazy how many times Hal Puthoff gets mentioned in this. Yeah, and aliens don't even have to be physical. Aliens do not even have to be physical, guys. Oh, let me make sure I didn't miss a donation or super chat, guys. Call him Pais. Oh, Pais. Pais? Pais? Is it really Pais? Guys, have I been saying Salvatore Pais' name wrong this entire time? That's certainly possible. That would be embarrassing. One way or another, we will figure out what Salvatore Pais' real pronunciation of his last name is. ATIP scientist, 1994. Let's just look at this one real quick. Scientist Hal Puthoff states in a presentation in Stockholm that he pitched vacuum fluctuation energy technology to several oil companies in the early 1990s, including Pennzoil, Texaco, Tenneco, Marathon, and Coastal. Puthoff states that the companies told him they would welcome vacuum energy technology because oil resources were believed to be dwindling. It is likely not the whole story of oil firms' interest in possible UAP-related technologies. One lead might be to check any testimony of illegal control. This is creepy, guys, because the oil companies are probably just as powerful as the defense contractors. I might be more afraid of the oil companies than I am of the defense contractors. I did not know that Hal Puthoff did presentations about zero-point energy to how many? Five different major oil companies. And that was in 1990s. That was 30 years ago. Yeah, the DOE is real scary, chat. They really don't want the world to have zero-point energy-based weapons and technology. They really don't. Guys, honestly, if Hal Puthoff wanted to have me killed, he probably could. I feel very confident that he knows the right people to make somebody disappear. Very confident. Dude, this is just crazy. Oh, whoops, what did I do? Not like this, chat. Okay. Let's go back to where we were. Okay, it's coming up soon. Oh, man, I'm not zoomed in anymore. Here it is. This is the other one I wanted to show you guys. Yeah, this is wild. Okay. 1998. Hal Puthoff, he had formed Earth Tech already. Bernard Haish, Lockheed Martin, and Alfonso Rudo, California State University, publish a paper for Lockheed Martin Advanced Technology Center and California State University regarding zero-point energy of the quantum vacuum. The study specifically looked at one or more resonant frequencies that may be associated with the quantum vacuum interaction for propulsion purposes. Resonant frequencies, we find out when you talk about a resonant frequency, what are we talking about? We're talking about when you find a frequency, when you're turning your radio dial and all of a sudden there's music. That's a resonant frequency. That's the analogy I'm giving you guys. Is when you reach a point where you've found the right frequency. We're matching a frequency that we find out there. Boom. Now we hear music. Now we hear the radio coming through. Otherwise, it's static. It's the same idea as a resonant frequency here. So you find the right frequency and you can interact with the vacuum. That's a very interesting thought. People have been dismissing harmonics and frequencies when it comes to this advanced technology. It's extremely fundamental to this zero-point energy and exotic technology. Oops, I wanted to show this one. Okay, and then a later paper discloses the program is funded by NASA. The program is funded by NASA and independent of the Breakthrough Propulsion Physics program. This is crazy because Hal Puthoff was also connected to the Breakthrough Propulsion Physics program that was going on at the same time with NASA. Not only was Hal Puthoff connected to it, Eric Davis was connected to the Breakthrough Propulsion. Watch my previous live stream where we talked about the Breakthrough Physics Propulsion experiments that happened in 1996 through 2002. If you look at the experiments that happened in this thing, it had all the top dudes, and they were testing all the craziest stuff. Free energy, zero-point energy. They were testing negative energy. They were testing everything. Warp drives, they were looking at it all. We looked at a big chart that was out there that showed all the things that they thought had credibility or did not and the things that they tested. It is wild. Like that, this breakthrough physics propulsion thing that they did in the 1996 should be a major milestone when you're looking at the history of this technology and how we've been reverse engineering it or developing it, let's just say. Yeah, they were not planning on Ashton taking classes and learning all of this stuff. You're right. They thought for sure, like, okay, Ashton found these videos. Even if he pushes the videos, what can he do? No one's going to ever believe him. They didn't think Ashton would be like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm going to learn quantum mechanics. I'm going to learn electrical engineering, and I'm going to figure out how to explain the science myself with a high level of credibility and a high level of understanding. In fact, when I read stuff like this, where he's talking about, like, you know, Hal Puthoff going to these people developing these scientific papers and stuff like that, I go, man, pretty soon I'm going to be an expert on zero-point energy. Pretty soon I'm going to be one of these people. Like, it's just a matter of, like, you keep learning more and more about it until, like, you learned everything that there is. And now, why can't I write a paper? I mean, if you go look back through all the work I've done on zero-point energy, you know, if nobody else is going to do it and understand it, I might as well. And that's why I'm empowering you guys to do it yourself as well. This could be an avenue for careers for you guys. People are making money off of this, 100% off this science, because it's real science. The defense contractors don't give a shit if people like Mick West and the debunkers think the stuff is fake. They don't care. In fact, it works in their favor if the people think it's fake. Okay, the exact name of this document, I'll find a link for you guys. Okay, what page are we on here? 131. Okay, one sec. Actually, it might be hard to find a link to this. I'll try to find the link and add it in the chat afterwards. Otherwise, if somebody else can find the link, I will highlight your chat message. If you can find a link to this, here it is. Somebody got it right there. There you go, chat. It's on your screen. Oversight.house.gov, the written testimony by Schellenberger. Okay, there it is. I'm going to leave that up while I go back to page 131. Okay, so Hal Puthoff and Bernard Haish being connected. Very interesting. Now, what does it say in this note down here, chat? What does this note down here say? The triangle anti-gravity craft patented and submitted by Salvatore Pais. How did I have to say it, guys? Come on, man. Pais, whatever. And Naval Air Station Patuxent River in 2017 utilized a similar concept and discussed specific frequencies used to interact with the quantum vacuum and generate anti-gravitic properties. Wow. They're talking about, I know all of Salvatore Pais' patents. They're talking about inertial mass reduction for a transmedium craft right here. Inertial mass reduction for a transmedium craft is the triangle craft patent that Salvatore Pais has. Pais. Salvatore Pais. Oh, man. It's going to be hard. So, wow. This is pretty interesting. I don't know what Dodge is, but welcome, Dodge. Welcome to the live stream. We're going through the history of UFO technology, otherwise known as zero-point energy technology. Okay. I'm going to switch gears here because now I want to show you guys, we're going to look for Salvatore Pais. Salvatore Pais, guys. There are 7 hits for Salvatore Pais. Here's the first one. 1997. You guys can read this okay, right? Yeah, okay, it looks good. NASA sponsors a breakthrough propulsion physics workshop at the NASA Glenn Research Center at Lewis Field in Cleveland, Ohio. This was actually the subject of one of our other live streams that we did. We went deep into this NASA propulsion physics, and we found all the scientific papers, everything they studied, and it was all the stuff that we've been talking about. Warp drives, wormholes, zero-point energy, everything. They were talking about all this stuff at this thing. So let's see what happened here. Vacuum fluctuation energy, warp drives, and the use of electromagnetism for anti-gravity and superluminal quantum tunneling was discussed. Yep. In fact, let me see if I happen to have in my private thing. I might have a link to it recently. Hold on, let me just scroll up. Ah, crap, I do not. Sorry, guys. I thought I had the image, but I do not. It's probably one of my old Twitter posts. Okay. Oh, actually, that reminds me. So I may be able to search. I'm trying to find the image for you guys real quick. Oh, that's not it. Damn it. Okay, well, I don't have that. Okay, sorry, back to the topic. Where's my screen? This is the one? Okay. The workshop occurred at a time where Salvatore Pais, later the inventor of the Navy's triangle craft patent, was working on his PhD dissertation at Case Western Reserve University while serving as a NASA graduate student research fellow at the Glenn Research Center. 12 students were in attendance according to the workshop's proceedings, but it is not disclosed if Pais was in attendance. It is certainly possible, given his Navy triangle craft patent utilized vacuum fluctuation energy concepts. Wow, chat. Yahtzee. Holy shit. Let me just go full screen and just show you what we're looking at first. Look at this. This just potentially connected Hal Puthoff and Eric Davis to Salvatore Pais as well. Oh, crap. What did I just do? Oh, here it is. This might just be connecting these guys all together. This says that Salvatore Pais' patents might be connected to this breakthrough physics research thing that happened in 1996. Salvatore Pais might have been working with NASA at the time and in the workshop himself. And then less than 20 years later, all of a sudden, the Navy releases these patents using the exact same theoretical concepts that was studied in the NASA breakthrough physics propulsion. Yeah. Add this to a list, bro. You don't think this is on the list? Oh, we are definitely getting some answers about the NASA. In fact, this is why I'm showing you guys this. I'm showing you guys this because if you're going to watch the interview, now you already know what Ashton's going to be asking Salvatore Pais. Because, holy shit, A, does he know Hal Puthoff and Eric Davis? Did he meet Eric Davis and Hal Puthoff at the NASA Breakthrough Physics Propulsion workshop? Is that where he learned about all this physics? Is that where he learned that we can do 0-point energy? Did the Navy basically turn him into a slave and make him develop advanced orb technology for them? I'm literally going to ask all these questions. Why is Salvatore Pais working for the Navy at all? Why is he working for the Navy? He's from Romania. Did we literally steal him as a scientist from Romania and make him work for the Navy? I got a lot of questions, chat. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but it feels like we're extremely close to just unraveling this whole UFO thing. Like all the history of 0-point energy feels like it's about to just get completely unraveled. Yeah, guys, I'm going to be nervous for the Salvatore Pais interview because I'm legitimately scared. There's going to be intel people watching my interview with Salvatore Pais closely to make sure he doesn't say anything that he can't say. This is fucking crazy. We have a whole timeline for how all of this stuff has been searched. So to the people that say how can we have had UFOs? They've been getting seen since the 20s and the Foo Fighters. I don't know, man. I don't know about the 20s. I don't know about the 30s. I don't know about the 40s. What I do know is from the 60s onward, we were absolutely researching this, and it seems like we've had major breakthroughs. I can connect the NASA Advanced Propulsion Physics Study or workshop to Salvatore Pais, and therefore to Salvatore Pais' patents, which use the exact same concepts that were studied during that workshop. Wow. Guys, this is where's my fucking Pulitzer Prize? Where is my fucking Pulitzer so that I can rip that shit up live on stream? No mainstream journalists were ever going to figure this shit out ever in a million years, and it was just sitting out there wide open. In fact, why are people not looking at this other than me right now? Is there anyone else other than MH370X? Which shout out to We Are the Change, shout out to JK Philly Fan. You guys were posting images from here, and I started looking at them, and I went, what the hell is this document? And I started digging into it, and I'm going, what? After somebody told me that Hal Puthoff was referenced 93 times in this, I was like, okay, I got to take a look. And now I'm looking, and I'm going, wait, what the hell? Note, in the early 2000s, a NASA spokesman in a conversation between George Schmidt and author Nick Cook wrote the book called Hunt for 0-Point Energy. In Huntsville, Alabama, stated that Huntsville was where the big picture interstellar vision came together. But breakthrough physics, which would lead to the creation of a device capable of high-speed interstellar travel, was managed by the NASA Glenn Research Center at Lewis Field. What does it say in the above paragraph? Salvatore Pais was working on his PhD dissertation at Case Western University while serving as NASA graduate study research fellow at the Glenn Research Center. Just said right down here, the breakthrough physics was being studied at the place where Salvatore Pais was a student. Drop the mic, chat. I'm out. I'm out, chat. Okay, chat. Holy shit. How can people still think the Salvatore Pais patents are disinformation or some bullshit? Look at this. Nick Cook got told directly that the breakthrough physics were being studied at NASA's Glenn Research Center, and that's exactly where Salvatore Pais was a graduate student at the exact same time. I'll dance for you. I'll dance. Woo! Damn, that is crazy. So we can connect the location where they were researching this technology directly to Salvatore Pais, and then less than 20 years later, these patents are just being released publicly. Here are my questions for Salvatore Pais. A, is all this shit true? Is all this shit true? Salvatore Pais, did you literally work on anti-gravity technology at the NASA Glenn Research Center? When did you join the Navy? When did the Navy conscript Salvatore Pais to make orbs and other weird shit or whatever he's making? I mean, when did that happen? What happened in the 18 years between this and when Salvatore Pais' patents became public? Did Salvatore Pais' patents get experimentally proven? That's the question. Let me go full screen for this. Did Salvatore Pais' patents actually get built and tested? That's a big question. I wonder how he's going to answer that. Also, why is my thing all weird? Oh, here we go. Salvatore Pais' patents might have been built and tested. Just looking at this timeline, 20 years go by. That's like the perfect amount of time to go from NASA breakthrough physics propulsion study that ends in 2002, and then Salvatore Pais' first patent gets patented in 2016, 14 years later. If we can do an interview with Salvatore Pais and we can get an admission that Salvatore Pais' patents are operational, that they've been tested, drop the mic disclosure. We did it. We're done. We walk out of here as heroes, and boom, there you go. Salvatore Pais gets to be a hero as well. But we've got a lot to learn. So on Sunday, this next Sunday, not tomorrow, or if you're watching this later on, November 24th, I am going to get us full fucking disclosure. We're going to find out how long we've been building this shit, when we figured it out, and what the timeline looks like. When Salvatore Pais first got his inspiration for zero-point energy, which we have a really, really good idea now, 1996, 1997, somewhere in that range, and what the military has been doing behind our backs for the many decades before. And when people say, oh, Ashton, don't you care about the aliens or where the technology comes from? No, I don't. I don't care. What I care about is what we have right now that we are hiding from the United States public that is probably free energy for the world. Like right now, we potentially have operational free energy for the world. It's being hidden because we want to use it as a weapon or whatever other bullshit, advantage over our adversaries, whatever. Crazy, huh? Don't be salty, Jack. Don't be salty. Some of my alien lovers here, they get offended. You can't hate on the aliens. You can't hate on jetpacks. Otherwise, you get a lot of heat. That's fine. I don't mind it. Okay. That, guys, when I read that, I was just like, I actually was getting shivers just like you guys. Like, I was getting shivers reading this because I'm like, we got him. We fucking got him. Okay, so let's take a look. I mean, oh, she stated Mark Mills was in charge of the breakthrough physical propulsion. Yeah, I remember Mark Mills. I read some of his stuff. Interesting. Here's something about Ning Li. I don't know if we're going to have time to go into the Ning Li stuff, but around the exact same times. Actually, let's just read this one. Yeah. Oh, we're going to end up being right, chat. We're going to end up being right. I'm very, very, very confident. There's way too much corroboration for everything that's going on in the MH370 videos. We're going to end up being right about all of it, except for maybe some of the, nuance here or there, which I don't care. We've got the big picture. The big picture is coming into focus. Like Hal Puthoff's the Godfather. He's at the top. Eric Davis is number 2, no question. And then there's some weird connection to Salvatore Pais and the U.S. Navy, where somehow this research got operationalized, and it's out there. And now we're in this awkward position where the world's just kind of like waiting to wake up to the fact that it's real. All right. After I'm done with just proving this little UFO disclosure thingamajig, then we'll start talking about pole shifts and other weird shit like that. But for now, I don't really have any interest in that stuff. First thing I want is free energy for the world. And then, I'll shit post dogs and pictures of wolves and stuff like that for the rest of my life. Okay, 1997, NASA Marshall Space Flight Center physicist Ning Li with David Nover, Tony Robertson, Ron Kogzer, and Whit Brantley of the University of Alabama in Huntsville publish a paper states recent experiments showing a rotating superconducting disk made of yttrium, barium, copper oxide. This doesn't seem like it's spelled correctly. Basically, YBCO. That's what we call it. YBCO superconductor is able to reduce the mass of an object suspended above it by 0.5% to 2.1%. Lee reportedly left NASA in 1999 to found the company AC Gravity LLC, which was then awarded a DoD grant. So Ning Li and Eugene Puthoff. We might ask Salvatore Pais about Ning Li as well. Since now we know Salvatore Pais was like really in this NASA thing, maybe he knows Ning Li too. Maybe we can just get his feel and his opinion on Ning Li and Puthoff. Yeah, Navy also had Thomas Townsend Brown. So like, guys, this is like, we can pretty much figure out exactly how this has been going down. It's more surprising to me that this just hasn't been, people haven't figured this out before this. It's just hidden in plain sight. All the history is there. I think the biggest issue is that people just struggle to believe that there's technology that mainstream academia and physics isn't aware of. They think that, oh, well, if there is some physics principle that's out there, it should have been proven publicly. And the funny part is it is. All the Casimir effect's proven publicly, Aronoff-Bohm effect's proven publicly. But when you press physicists, PhD physicists, you can press PhD physicists about the Casimir effect, and they just go back to like NPC programming. They're like, well, it's a van der Waals effect. And you're like, okay, and yes, it's a type of van der Waals effect. It's similar to van der Waals. So what? That means it's explained. Okay, but what is it? Why, when I put two plates together, do the plates come together? How is that happening? How is there a force there that's happening at a macroscopic scale? At a scale that I can see with my eyeballs. Right? And what happens with the physicists? They just clam up. Same way where you say, hey, what is dark energy? What is dark matter? Where's energy even coming from? Where's the energy of my lights coming from? And they start clamming up. They have no idea. They have no idea. It's crazy. Okay. Okay, let's see. Chat, you guys are wild tonight, chat. Thank you, everybody who's watching the stream. This is all bullshit. What are you talking about? Yeah, this is all fake pseudoscience, guys. We just can never know what dark energy and we can never know what dark energy is. We can never know what dark matter is. This is all bullshit. It's like, it's all just unknowable. Anything that aliens can do can't be understood by humans. Sorry, guys. If aliens did it, it's not understandable by humans. They're just so much more advanced than we are. Too funny. Jack, okay, I'm gonna cook Jack for a second, guys. Jack, you got to get over it, bro. You're obsessed with aliens. So what? Here's the truth. No one gives a fuck about aliens. There's a small minority of people that care about aliens being real and visiting this planet. You're in that small minority. Most people on this planet don't give a single shit about whether or not aliens are visiting us at all. Whether or not we were to admit aliens are real doesn't change their viewpoint at all, and they don't care. It's not going to make them instantly love you. You're not going to immediately start getting people apologizing to you because the aliens are real. That is never going to happen in your entire life. That's just the hard truth. So push aliens being real if you want. I'm just trying to explain to you why no one gives a shit. That was never the path for disclosure, telling people that aliens are real. Just go talk to normal people on the street. They'll say it's neat. Great, I'm going to work tomorrow. No one cares. Anyway, there you go. Okay, let's go back to this thing. Yeah, Amy Eskridge is listed in here as well, so we can probably take a look at that, but I want to look at Eric Davis as well. Actually, we'll do Amy Eskridge because I think there's only one hit for Amy Eskridge. Yeah, okay, just one hit for Amy Eskridge, and then we'll go back to, I want to look at Eric Davis as well, and then we'll probably close up after that. We've been going for a while, guys. Oh, I've told several people some information that I think would be very interesting. If it got out, it would corroborate some of the stuff that I've said that I've never told anybody publicly because I worry that it could get back to my sources. But I have told a couple people just for insurance, just in case. I don't know that, like, people can, you know, they would probably just say it's made up or whatever, but it's not. And I think that I've put enough seeds in podcasts that if this information came out, people would be like, wait, this guy disappeared and he said what? And he said what in what podcast? We'll see. I don't know. End of the day, if they want to disappear you, they're going to make you disappear, and they're going to convince the world that, like, you hurt yourself or some bullshit. There's nothing you can really do to stop it other than to say very frequently that you would never hurt yourself, which I'm going to say right now. I would never hurt myself. Never plan to go down any dark alleys in the middle of the night or anything sketchy like that. I don't drive over the speed limit or anything like that either. So, okay. Let's see. Oh, damn, chat. The messages are flying. I can't keep up with all the messages, guys. Yeah, the chat is like crazy today. Okay. Amy Eskridge, guys. I mean, this document has everything in it. Amy Eskridge is in this document. Amy Eskridge, 35-year-old scientist and co-founder of the Institute for Exotic Science in Huntsville, Alabama, dies in Huntsville, Alabama. Retired UK intelligence officer Frank Milburn, I'm actually friends with him on Twitter, claims she was targeted with directed energy weapons and murdered by a private aerospace company in the U.S. because she was involved in the UAP. You know, I'm not calling it UAP. From now on, anytime I see UAP, I'm just calling it UFO. She was involved in the UFO conversation and working on advanced propulsion. In 2020, Eskridge stated she was planning to present novel foundational work regarding anti-gravity, but needed approval from NASA. Huh. I think now we have a good idea why she needed approval from NASA. NASA Breakthrough Physics Propulsion, Salvatore Pais, U.S. Navy. Now we see why she needed approval from NASA. That didn't make sense to me before. In 2018, Eskridge and her father, Richard Eskridge, and if you look up Richard Eskridge, guys, like, he's all involved in like fusion-based propulsion, plasma-based propulsion too. He gave a talk, both of them gave a talk on behalf of their company, Holocron Engineering, a gravity modification R&D company, in which they discussed historical and current means of anti-gravity experiments and modern black projects already developing anti-gravity triangle aircraft like the TR-3B. Eskridge's colleague, Dick Reeves, was also involved in the institute. Her brothers Michael and Matt were not. Interesting. Alien scientist is referenced right here. So Amy Eskridge is pretty interesting. Her story is really interesting. Either she shot herself and on her front lawn in her home, or somebody took her out. There's really no in between. My opinion, I don't know. I don't really know. I think it's really, really weird that this anti-gravity research doing public R&D gravity modification suddenly died at 30-something years old. Did she have some issues? Probably. I think it's fair to have issues when you're dealing with magical technology. Who knows? Okay. And last thing I'll say is that I don't care where this technology came from. I don't care where this technology came from at all. I'm going to let all the other people in the UFO sphere argue about where the technology came from, if it was ancient humans that we dug it up, or if they crashed on here in Roswell, we figured it out, if we are the aliens, or if there's 55 species of aliens or whatever. I'm going to let other people figure that out. I just don't care. It's too much. And I just don't care about it. I just care about the science. Okay, next thing. Now let's see what else we got. Let's go to, everybody's got issues too, man. So it's fair. It's not fair to be like, oh, these people have issues, and therefore we should ignore everything they say. Okay, so 1988, SAIC, which stands for Science Applications International Corp. This is another one of the big companies. Studies electronic propulsion for Edwards Air Force Base. Again, for Franklin Meade. Again, there he is. Chief of the Future Technology Section. According to SAIC investigator Dennis Cravens, Assistant Director of Los Alamos National Research Centers for Explosive Technology Research, Ferris Williams was essential to the research. That's a really hard sentence to read. Okay, I don't know, whatever. SAIC, citing Williams, suggests a 5-dimensional theory of thermodynamics that could lead to a unified theory and novel propulsion methods. The report also mentioned anti-gravity was not achieved using a rotating cylinder filled with mercury, but that the research should be reconsidered in the future. Whoa, chat. A 5-dimensional theory of thermodynamics. Do you guys see what they're saying right here? They're saying the ether is real. 3 spatial dimensions, 1 time dimension. That's the 4 dimensions we see all around us. The 5th dimension is the ether, the 0-point energy field. We don't need 57 dimensions or whatever the fuck string theory is doing anymore. We just need 5. 5 dimensions is all we need in this universe. 3 dimensions, up, down, left, right, forward, and back. 4th dimension is time. 5th dimension is the ether of energy. So right there, we just found another source from SAIC claiming that there's an extra dimension, and I bet you when we click on this link, we're going to find out that it doesn't exist. Well, we might have to figure out where this paper exists. I need an access to this paper by Ferris Williams, because if this also proposes 0-point energy in the ether, like, come on, we've got it. We've got how many different corroborating scientists all saying the same thing. This is why at the beginning I was saying there is no other theory. The theory for how UFOs float, where their energy comes from, it's 0-point energy. They've all been saying it. All the physicists and scientists that are out there that are studying alternative propulsion all have the same concept. An extra dimension filled with energy all around us, and we're sitting on the surface of this energy in an equilibrium on it. You can pull energy out, negative energy, or like our planet is just positive energy sitting on top of it. So what am I doing with my hands? This is gravity. More gravity, equilibrium, less gravity, right? It's not a complicated concept. In fact, the beauty of the physics is that anybody can understand it. You just say, yes, I see the 3 dimensions. I understand that time is another dimension. And there's one more dimension, the quantum dimension. The dimension I can't physically see with my eyes, but we experimentally know that it's there. We experimentally know it's there. I can't see air either, but I'm breathing it all the time. So just because you can't see something doesn't mean it's not there. There you go. John Johnson, time is the 4th dimension, ether is the 5th dimension. There you go. Okay, so we'll see if we can find that paper in our Discord later on tonight. I may post it tomorrow if I can find it. Oh, yeah, We Are the Change also pointed out that the Jupiter Toy Company has a patent for energy conversion using high charge density. Basically, what that is a mechanism, a patent, to be able to pull electrical energy from an exotic vacuum object. That is what that patent is for. Energy conversion using high charge density by Kenneth Shoulders and the Jupiter Toy Company in 1991. So potentially Hal Puthoff was connected to that patent, but it was not in his name either. Very, very interesting. Okay. Whew. So what does it say about Eric Davis down here? So long story short, Eric Davis at some point became Hal Puthoff's right-hand man. And Eric Davis probably knows more about vacuum physics and warp drive physics and wormhole physics than anybody else on the planet. Guy's a straight-up genius, no question about it. He's definitely involved in black projects. And my favorite was when John Ramirez did a little shout out to Eric Davis. This is my favorite. I want to know what Eric Davis's response is to this. Wait, let me see. Is this? Oh, no, that's the whole thing. We're not watching the whole thing. Crap. I thought I had, didn't I have a link? What? Oh, okay, here it is. Don't worry, we got it.
Very, very.
Whoa, holy smokes, Devos. Devos in the house, brother. Also, guys, I love all the positive attitude in the chat right now, guys. It goes very well with what we've been figuring out and disclosing. Like today, man, shit, this link from this Immaculate Constellation or whatever this is. I know the name of the stream is Immaculate Constellation, but I don't even understand where this document came from. Why is there a document with 150 pages of like engineering 0-point energy connected to this Immaculate Constellation document? Sorry, I have the wrong one. Why is all this stuff here? I don't really get it. But thank you, Devos. You're the big guy. 50 schmeckles. Here's a Discord invite for the people who are interested. I haven't posted it in a while. Yeah, we need negative energy, 100%. Do I think Bob Lazar ever met Hal? I think it's unlikely. I don't think their paths crossed, but I could be wrong. Okay. Where's Davis mentioned here? Oops, let's go back up. Shannon's name was also mentioned on the alleged meeting notes between Eric Davis and VADM Thomas R. Wilson. I don't know what VADM means, where a secret UAP program was discussed. 2002. Ferris Williams also spoke at a UAP technology conference in 2001, where it was mentioned his research was sponsored at the time by Hal Puthoff. What? What? Holy shit. Hal Puthoff literally is the Godfather. 1988, Hal Puthoff was sponsoring Ferris Williams to write a scientific paper about the extra dimension and 0-point energy. And then Hal Puthoff just did it himself. Damn, this is wild. That means Vice Admiral? Yeah, VADM, Vice Admiral. Wow. What sketchy shit are these guys getting themselves up to? How much shit does Hal Puthoff know? I need to talk to Hal Puthoff more than anybody out there. I need to talk to Hal Puthoff. I want to talk to him more than anyone. Like, I'm pretty sure after the Salvatore Pais interview, Hal Puthoff is never going to talk to me. Never. Because he knows I'm too smart. I'm too smart to be lied to or misled. Way too smart. Dude's never going to do a live stream or a live interview with me because I'm going to ask questions that nobody has ever asked Hal Puthoff before. Questions that no one has ever asked Hal Puthoff. Hal Puthoff is so used to dealing with dumbasses who want to know about, tell me about the remote viewing, tell me about your psychic powers, right? Nobody ever asks him about metric engineering and the history of his 0-point energy papers and the people that he interacted with. I'm going to build a whole timeline for exactly how this 0-point energy technology was discovered and how this technology was advanced over the last 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, maybe longer. I feel very confident I understand it from the 60s to the 2020s. Between the 40s and 60s and before the 40s, not really sure. Crazy. Okay, actually, let's watch this John. I love this John Ramirez clip. This guy is a former GS-15 CIA agent. GS-15 is the highest rank you can get in the military ranking thingamajig. GS-15, that's the top. Until maybe then you get to, like, I don't know, officer ranks. Go ahead and fact check me. I don't care. So he also seems very credible. He doesn't seem like a kind of guy who's pushing disinformation. He seems like a kind of guy who's been ostracized by the CIA, and they don't really care what he says because nobody really listens to him.
See who was on that bigot list and who was not on the bigot list. Now, secondly, I happen to know Eric Davis in a way that he does not know I know him.
Well, there's Eric Davis's face, the #1 leading scientist and physicist on wormholes. And that was John Ramirez, GS-15 CIA agent, saying, I happen to know Eric Davis in a way he doesn't know I know him. I mean, I can only interpret that one way, especially because he just talked about secret bigot lists for special access programs. He saw Eric W. Davis's name on a bigot list for a special access program. Clearly, that's what happened. He knows him sexually. No, in this case, I don't think sexually, but there you go.
I can't reveal, I don't have his permission from Dr. Eric Davis to reveal how I would know him. But there are several CIA officers in a managerial capacity that knew him. And so I hope that Eric Davis will reach out to me, or I can reach out to him to see if I can tell the rest of the story. And if you hear the rest of the story of how these CIA officers know Eric Davis, I think it will surprise you based on the timeline of what Eric Davis was doing.
What was Eric Davis doing when John Ramirez was seeing him on Bigot List? Oh, he was writing papers about teleportation and ball lightning that were being sponsored by Frank Mead. There's a pretty good chance that somebody's going to off me. There's a pretty good chance, chat.
His work with the Air Force Research Lab.
I mean, we've figured this whole fucking thing out. Like, this whole thing, we've connected all the names, like, directly to the papers, directly to random GS-15 CIA agents saying that they're seeing him on Bigot Lists. But they can't say it directly unless they get his permission.
And his
I'm going to show that last part again.
I think it will surprise you based on the timeline of what Eric Davis was doing at the time, his work with the Air Force Research Labs, and his...
People must have looked at that ball lightning study and just been like, what is this? Ball lightning study? The hell? Ken Shoulders is sitting there going, oh, they're doing a study on my exotic vacuum objects, my EVOs. And they throw a bunch of other stuff in the ball physics lightning study to kind of throw people off that are reading it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what they're getting at is, can we turn this EVO, this ball of plasma, into a floating drone? And can we make it teleport something away? Ultimately, that's the subtext of those papers. The subtext of Eric W. Davis's 2004 papers, ball lightning study and teleportation physics study, are essentially, I've read both of them. Maybe not all of them. There's like 80 pages each, but most of both of them is essentially, can we take this ball of plasma and make another ball of plasma and a third ball of plasma, and can we make it teleport a plane away? That's the subtext of the papers after you understand the context of what we're talking about. Can you make it do this? Wild. Yeah, John Ramirez is kind of a weird guy. I mean, the whole interview that he did there is super weird. It's not even an interview. It's just him recording himself saying a bunch of stuff, which is creepy as fuck. And then he like sent it to, I guess, Jay from Project Unity. John Ramirez, if you're out there and you want to make any more weird, creepy videos about people, send them to me, brother. I got 200,000 followers. I'll post it on my YouTube channel. I'll post it on my X channel. Go nuts, brother. Any CIA agents that are out there, whistleblowers, that want to say crazy shit that they know about Hal Puthoff, Eric Davis, Ken Shoulders, or any of the rest of these guys, I'm your man, brother, right here. You want views? I'll get you those views. Crazy. Interesting. Okay. Back to this. I think that, do we have anything else to go through? Let's see. So, I mean, Eric Davis is mentioned 47 times in this. Let's see what else we got. Wilson Davis memos. Okay. Eric Davis says the DOE doesn't own anything. Says that their labs did some UAP materials analysis, but it was for the owner of the materials paid for via interagency project contracts. Davis states he briefed findings, presumably of his own investigation, to 2 Senate committee staffs. What? Holy shit. Davis states he briefed findings, presumably of his own investigation, to 2 Senate committee staffs, a certain combatant command, and the UAP task force. Wow. So, guys, remember when Ashton Forbes, for the record, if you want any questions about MH370, like this question that I get about 50 times per day, you must watch my podcast. It's not that I'm trying to make money off it. It's actually other people's podcasts. I'm just too lazy to answer the same question 100 times every single day, or 50 times, or however often I get it. You want to know where I think the airplane went? Just watch any of my podcasts. Basically, every single person asks that question. Highly recommend Candace Owens. Now, remember when Ashton went on like a bunch of podcasts, including Candace Owens, and said Marco Rubio and Chuck Schumer know about this technology and you should probably be asking them about MH370? Yeah. Chuck Schumer, Senator Chuck Schumer, and I guess he's still Senator Marco Rubio, know about this technology because they're in the Senate Intelligence Committee. That's probably one of the committees that Eric Davis briefed about this technology. So why the fuck are we playing dumb and pretending like it's not real or that it's aliens or some bullshit like that? It's so goddamn obvious at this point that we are hiding that we are developing this technology. Whether or not it came from aliens or not, who cares? We are hiding that we have this technology right now. It's crazy. All these people know too, and they're just fucking lying about it. Marco Rubio or Chuck Schumer could come out tomorrow and they could say, yep, we've got this crazy advanced technology. You wouldn't believe it. We've been floating fucking orbs around in the sky. They're plasma. And this whole shit would be over immediately. Yeah, I'll drop the Discord again. This whole thing would be over. It's just, it blows my mind. In fact, you could ask them about MH370, and I'm pretty sure their answer is going to be they can't comment on it. Pretty sure that's what their answer is going to be. Because if they were to say anything else or lie about it, I could fucking nail them to the wall. I could nail them to the wall. That's the most as I'm going to say to you guys. Okay? So I get kind of tired. I'm going to leave this up for a second. When people are trying to say the videos are fake and shit, and I'm like, well, go ask the U.S. government. Go ask Marco Rubio and Chuck Schumer if they think the videos are fake. I'm so tired of litigating this bullshit in social media with fucking retards. I've gone through all the science. I've shown the history of it. I've put more evidence out there for this missing airliner than probably any missing anything ever in history. And nobody even has the balls to demand a response from the U.S. government. If you thought these videos were fake, you should be demanding the U.S. government come out and say the videos are fake, because there's this guy on social media pushing harmful disinformation saying that the government commits conspiracies and that they have secret anti-gravity technology and they're hiding free energy from the world. If you thought that was all fake, the only thing you would be doing is asking the government to say it's fake. That would be the number one way that you could damage my credibility. If they were to come out and say, no, we didn't do anything to that plane. We're not hiding anything around that plane. So why isn't anybody doing that? I've said on multiple podcasts that Marco Rubio and Chuck Schumer know what happened to MH370, and they know that we have this technology. We just look, they've been briefed on it. We just saw right here, they've been briefed by Eric Davis, the #1 expert in the world on wormholes. So go fucking ask him. If you're a journalist out there, go do your job. I'm going to say it one more time. If you're a journalist, go do your job. Go ask the politicians the hard questions. Why is the United States government lying about MH370? Question number 1. Question number 2. Why are we lying to the American people about cold fusion, 0-point energy, and free energy? Number 3, how many of these UFOs we're seeing out there are defense contractor or otherwise affiliated United States military technology? These are the questions that should simply be repeated ad nauseum. I don't need to hear any more about the aliens visiting us or any other bullshit like that until we've answered these questions. Then disclosure will be done. Done. That's my Trump impression. Okay. Let's see. So that was, wow, man. It's crazy the amount of just insane stuff in here, guys, honestly. Okay, somebody wanted to search for Winterberg. Let's do any other last searches, and I think we're going to call it. Yeah, just saw a good comment in the chat. Is that why Trump got Rubio for Secretary of State? Yes, I think so, literally. People are wondering, Why is Marco Rubio, a neocon, getting a spot in the administration? Why? Because Trump is playing ball. Trump knows about this stuff. You guys are naive if you think the president of the United States doesn't know we have this advanced technology. They know when they're not allowed to talk about it for the same reason nobody's allowed to talk about it. National security. That's the reason. And Marco Rubio knows about it. He's been talking about the UFO stuff for years. Marco Rubio knows he's one of the few people in the Senate intelligence community being briefed about it. He knows the true nature of it. And this is why he was almost probably vice president as well. He was almost vice president because he's not quite deep state, but he is in the know on these important matters of national security. That's why Marco Rubio is getting involved. Always, again, national security. If you didn't watch my Emerald spot, you need to watch that. That spot's amazing. I'd play it right now, but we don't have time. There's like 12 minutes left, or it's 12 minutes long, and I'm pretty tired. Whew. Okay. What's this say? Marco Rubio's relationship with NASA involves legislative support, advocacy for the American space program's development, and concerns over political implications of NASA's leadership. Interesting. Reflecting broader themes of science. That's definitely an AI response. You can tell the AI responses like immediately. Okay, let's look at Winterberg. Guys, did I miss any chats? Heath Herndon, thank you very much. Wow, you guys are going crazy with the chats. Thank you for the donation, 1999. The United States has conducted approximately 1,030 nuclear tests from 1945 to 1992. The last test was performed in September of 1992. Ask yourself why. This is a great super chat. Heath Herndon, great super chat. Why did we stop doing nuclear tests in 1992 when we just learned that in the early 90s we cracked anti-gravity? We cracked it as being a product of 0-point energy. All these physics studies were being done. NASA does a huge study on it in 1996. And then all of a sudden, Salvatore Pais' patents come out in the mid-2010s to late 2010s. I think that it's just crazy. You can be a student of history and you can figure this out. In fact, I actually love Jesse Michaels, but it blows me away that he didn't figure this out. He is isn't he a history major or something like that? All you need to figure this out is study the history. You can make a board right in the back with Hal Puthoff, Eric Davis, Salvatore Pais, all the other people, Frank Mead. And you're going to have like a drug kingpin thing. You know, obviously it's about 0-point energy, not drugs, but you get the idea. Okay, chat. How many you guys got to chill out with the super chats? Oh boy. What time to be alive? I don't know what NCSWIC means, but thank you very much. Love it. Thank you. Am I afraid for my safety? No. I've talked to Dave Rossi about this a lot. Dave and I both have the exact same view, which is if it happens, it happens. I'm not going to live my life in fear. Simple as that. Not going to live my life in fear. And until the United States government gives me the ScarJo clone or my $10 million or calls me up and explains why I can't talk about this, then I'm going to keep pushing it. Until one of those things happens, I'm going to keep pushing it. And I have plausible deniability if they were ever to try to arrest me for giving away national security secrets. First of all, everything that I've been exposing is open source, all available online. Not one thing is some type of hidden classified document that anybody's fed me behind the scenes. Amazing. I have plausible deniability. If they would arrest me and say, hey, you've been giving away our nuclear secrets or whatever bullshit they would make up, I would say, how would I know that? I couldn't possibly know that. I'm not in a position to know that. And nobody's told me. So if I've been able to deduce something that's real, then that's just using my mind and using what's available open source to deduce that. I'm just making informed, educated guesses as to what's going on. There's nothing they could do. So thank you, Babsy. I appreciate that, but no, I'm not afraid for my safety. I'm more afraid of psycho weirdos on Reddit and debunkers like trying to kill me because like I've shattered their entire worldview, to be perfectly honest with you. There's a non-0% chance of that. Is Bearden in the file? 5-point donation. We'll take a look at Bearden and Winterberg right after the last donation here. And then Michael Burke, thank you for all you're doing. Thank you, brother. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Tonight's chat's been crazy. I don't know what's going on. Everybody's loving this, but we have a lot of people watching. A lot of people watching tonight, guys. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, let's take a look at these last couple things, and then I'll do a couple last questions, and we'll call it a night. Saturday night, we're hanging out. We're having a good time. I'm going to go watch some TV after this as well. Okay, Winterberg. I don't think we're going to find Winterberg. No Winterberg. Okay. Let's do caps just in case I misspelled it. No Winterbergs, guys. Let's look up. Did we say we're going to look up Lazar? We'll look up Lazar too, but no. Bearden. Okay. Bearden. Oh, there are Beardens. There are Beardens, chat. I did not think we were going to have Beardens. I did not think we were going to have Beardens. For the record, my primary platform is X. I've fallen behind on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. I'm one guy trying to do all this. Most of these people who are podcasters and stuff have like whole teams of people. It's crazy. Okay. Oh, this would be fun. Oh, that would be a lot of fun. A multi-stream interview with myself, Dutch Sense, and Eric Hecker. Oh, one more thing I want to announce here as well. It's not really an announcement. I spoke to the pilot, Elizabeth Lane, that I spoke to like a year ago. She's super cool. I like her a lot. I don't know if that interview ever went live. We spoke about Larry Vance and like why it made no sense that it could be pilot suicide. But her and I are in discussions. We're talking about, I may do another appearance on a platform that's out there. And we've been talking about, I'm not going to say the other thing we're talking about. Let's just say talking about other media that we could help bring this information forward on a platform that I think it would get a lot of eyeballs. So it's exciting. Honestly, it's exciting, guys. Yeah, so Bearden. Let's look at Bearden here. So what are we saying about Bearden? 7 types of anti-gravity devices. Nuclear anti-gravitation that allegedly causes a breakdown of Newton's third law based on the alleged works of Bearden, Wallace, Dan Fry, Gilbert Jordan, and the claims of Bob Lazar. It is alleged that cold fusion with 0-point energy interaction can achieve this effort. Let's go! Do the Tootsie Roll. Oh. Do the Tootsie Roll, chat. Whoa. Now we're talking. Whoa, shit, chat. Let's fucking go, chat. Let's go. Oh, my God. Wow. Whoever told me, who is the super chatter? Wow. Brady Stewart. Thank you, man. Wow. It just says it right there. Cold fusion is a mechanism for anti-gravity. And it is alleged. This is 1998, chat. 1998. 26 years ago. It is alleged that cold fusion with 0-point energy interaction can achieve this effort, anti-gravity. I'm surprised Ken Shoulders is not referenced here. Ken Shoulders' paper, Permittivity Transitions, also makes this claim. It really literally is just all out there. So when people say, Ashton, what do you mean it's suppressed? You're telling me it's all out there. Yeah, because how else do you explain why everybody's just ignoring this? Anybody could be doing what I'm doing right now. And I don't understand why they aren't. They just look and read what's in this huge file of the history of engineering 0-point technology and UFO technology. It's just all listed out there. I didn't even know that I was going to see this today. And I've been saying this exact thing down here, that cold fusion cannot be pulled away from this. They are directly connected. The same negative energy that allows all this stuff to be possible allows for free energy and cold fusion. Exotic vacuum objects are cold fusion. Crazy. This document was linked earlier in the stream. You can look back and you can find it. It's on the congressional record. This was submitted to congressional record after the UFO hearing. So the document that I'm looking at after the UFO hearing on Wednesday was submitted to congressional. This document is like 10 times better than the UFO hearing was. This is the best document I've ever seen related to the UFO stuff. It's got sources for everything. I started reading this and I was like, damn, I kind of need something like this for MH370. This is fucking crazy. This is crazy. I was thinking like we should build something like this for MH370 with dates of all the evidence that we found and just list it out here with the sources. That would actually be compelling because this is crazy compelling. Wow. What else? Where else is Bearden referenced? 2002. Thomas Bearden writes that he knows of several researchers working on a related technology at the time. Jeff Cameron of Transdimensional Technologies, Hal Puthoff of Earth Tech, Jean-Louis Nadine of JLN Labs, James Woodward he sounds familiar, of Cal State, and Alfonso Ruda of Cal State University, Bernard Haish of Lockheed Martin, John Campbell of NASA, and Ning Li of AC Gravity, Eugene Poklanoff, Hector Serrano, John Rusek. I don't know several of these people, and others. Interesting. There are only so many anti-gravity experts in the United States. Were any of them working on UAP-related projects during their public research as cover? Cameron referenced UFOs in a press release in 2004. Haish has referenced them before. Puthoff participated in the Pentagon's ATIP program studying UFOs and advised the ATP group. Wow, chat. This is crazy, chat. Yeah, Jack, you're pissing people off, so chill out, brother. I don't want to put you back on block. Okay. Then there's more references. Lieutenant Colonel Tom Bearden claims to have seen experiments where energy extraction from the quantum vacuum was possible. Let's go. Let's go, chat. Everybody says, why can't I see an experiment? Because they're fucking classified. They're classified. They're all classified. If you start trying to build this shit in your garage and you start getting anywhere, you're going to get a knock on the door. The men in black are going to roll up and they're going to flashy thing you and your shit's gone. Your shit's just gone. That's what they're going to do to you. I didn't know that he said this. In 2013, Tom Bearden said that he saw an experiment where quantum energy extraction was possible. Modern electrodynamic theory does not allow for this to happen. It will. It's going to. Bearden states that he and others have built electromechanical devices that demonstrate the technology and says that certain powers would rather keep ZPE, there it is, right there, technology privately known instead of public. There's a link? Yeah, we've already watched this. We've already watched that whole thing. Yeah, we're going to hit you the neuralizers. Damn, chat. This document is great. This document is great. We already know all about Tom Bearden, though. Okay, that's all 4 links for Tom Bearden. Thank you very much for those donations, guys. Oh, do we want to search for Stan Deo real quick? Isn't it D-E-Y-O? I think it's D-E-Y-O. Yeah. This document, frankly, simply the best document I've ever seen about UFO stuff. It's just got everything in it. It's got everything going on. Yeah, Deo is not there. I think we've done enough tonight. We've been live 2.5 hours. This has been an amazing live. This is a different cold fusion. This is not cold fusion, what you're looking at right down here. This experiment, I believe this is hot fusion. I could be wrong. I believe you're talking about hot fusion, 2002. Cold fusion goes back to 1989. And cold fusion was actually suppressed by the DoD. The DoD claimed, supposedly, It's argued that it was falsely claimed by the DoD and MIT that the cold fusion experiments were not reproducible. But the cold fusion experiments did get reproduced over 60 times. DOE and MIT or 60 recreations. Up to you guys. Okay. I have had no drinks tonight. In fact, I have not drank for weeks. I have not had a drink for weeks, chat. I just don't feel like it. So it's kind of hard to keep the energy going, but this has been an awesome chat with you guys. It's easy to have high energy when we're looking at just mind-blowing stuff, guys. So next week, we'll do some streams. We'll talk more about the Salvatore Pais interview coming up on November 24th, 1:30 Central, 2:30 Eastern time. You guys saw what we looked at today. You saw what we looked at today. You saw the puzzle pieces we put together. It's going to be an explosive stream. It's going to be an explosive interview. And we're also going to nerd out about the science as well, because I'm at the level now where I can talk to Salvatore Pais about this stuff level to man to man, level to level. It's going to be awesome. I just can't wait, guys. Sorry, I don't have time to go through all. I guess I'll give you the main takeaways. The main takeaways of what we just found, especially related to this document here, which was attached to the congressional record after the UFO hearing, is that we have a very strong timeline of all the engineers that we've been suspecting have been working on zero-point energy. Bernard Haish, Tom Bearden, Eric Davis, Hal Puthoff, Salvatore Pais. We can connect Salvatore Pais to the NASA Glenn Research Center, which was researching anti-gravity devices while he was there. We can connect Salvatore Pais potentially as a graduate student while working with NASA to the NASA Breakthrough Physics Propulsion Research Workshop, which is connected to Hal Puthoff and Eric Davis. We can basically connect every zero-point energy scientist in the United States together. Most of them, at least the prominent ones, which is just crazy to me. Like, I could never imagine that we would put this web of research and evidence and everything together. I mean, it's incredible. Yeah, it's crazy how far I've come on this, and you guys have come with me as well. Looking back on my interview from Salvatore Pais last year, I don't even recognize myself. From a scientific perspective, I don't even recognize myself anymore. It's just weird. It's a bizarre feeling. So, okay, guys, have a great night. Love you, MH370X. We will talk on Monday. Peace, everybody. We're going to play us out with the Cypher. It's got to be the Cypher chat.
Out in the fields where the skies are wide, talking about a journey through the cosmic ride. Einstein and Thorne, they set the stage for a trip through time across the space age. Wormholes connect distant points in space, traversable paths to a far-off place. No black holes pull, no crushing weight, just a cosmic tunnel to a distant gate. Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow. We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow. Exotic matter, negative energy's the key to stabilize the wormhole for you and me. Quantum vacuum squeeze so tight, creating conditions for this wondrous flight. Static fields and lasers in the lab they play, generating forces in a new kind of way. Gravitational squeezing, Casimir's force, negative zones we need to stay the course. Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow. Thin shell formalism plates so fine, spherical geometry we realign. Energy conditions that we must defy. For a stable wormhole, let's give it a try. Armed forces balancing the plate, creating the throat, open the gates, from Earth to the stars in a single bound. A shortcut through space profound. Engineers and dreamers hold the key to future worlds and what we could be. With science in hand, we forge ahead through the cosmic paths that we now tread. We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow. From the fields to the stars, we break the chains. Understanding the universe, we make the gains. Lil Hula Crunk shines, bringing truth to light. Through his music, we'll explore the night. With wormholes and stargates, our path is clear.